we held Curry to just 4 made shots, 13 total points. Now you just got to meet Dennis Schroeder last week. Y'all got well acquainted. How do you combine those two scouting reports with what went well for a game like tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we did a good job on Curry in the first matchup, but other guys had big nights for him. Obviously, Hield had a good night. Moody had a good night. You know, you look at recent games, Wiggins is playing extremely well. Kuminga, you know, being in the starting lineup, the pop that he gives them. So a little bit different personnel kind of matchup to start the game. You know, Curry, you know, he can go off any given night. And I thought our guys were pretty disciplined, but, you know, we were a little loose in other areas with their constant movement, off-ball movement. You add Schroeder to the mix. You know, they're so heavy off-ball, dribble handoff, but now you got a dynamic pick-and-roll player to add, you know, with Curry and play alongside him or play separate, however they deploy him. You know, point of attack defense is going to be huge, whether it's on ball in pick and roll situations or even in those off ball situations. So great challenge tonight. You know, we're going to learn a lot about them and their new personnel tonight.
Kind of expanded on what you were just saying about the Warriors with Schroeder being kind of a, you know, more pick and roll type of guy, and we know Curry in the way they like to move him off the ball. What are the biggest keys in terms of kind of being able to contain both of those things simultaneously?
Yeah, I mean, we're prepared for both. I mean, obviously, you know, Curry can play in a decent amount of pick and rolls as well, you know, but obviously way more off-ball screens, and obviously we've got a sample size with Schroeder, you know, but obviously in this system, you know, they could be doing some different things, obviously with the pick and roll combinations with Green as a screener, or it's a Looney or Jackson Davis. Those guys are dynamic screen setters, and also, you know, they just create a lot of gravitational pull, and we know what Schroeder's fully capable of. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, this first matchup, you know, how they utilize him in their system, but, you know, we've gone through enough, you know, pick and roll breakdowns off ball that hopefully we're prepared for both.
Taylor, in a game like this, how important is it to sort of juggle intensity and passion, but also being composed and playing to what your principles are?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's history with this team. You know, everyone's aware of it, but, you know, we've got to go out there with a mentality that, you know, we're ready to battle. We're ready to play our standard of basketball. Obviously, we didn't come in with that same edge, you know, a month ago or so when we were in Golden State. You know, we've got a lot of history, so we know the personnel, we know tendencies, they know what we're running. We have a pretty good feel what they're running. Obviously, Hield's added a different element to them. Now you add Schroeder, you know, a lot of their young guys who've stepped up. Obviously, Curry and Green are going to be big focal points, you know, with how they play so well together in transition, or especially in their constant movement in the half court. But, you know, we just got to go out and just be disciplined. That's the biggest thing. Our mind's got to be inside the lines. We've got to compete. We've got to set a tone at the beginning of the game. We've got to be ready for just waves. You know, that's what these matchups can be at different times, and try to play to our strengths. If we can lean into that, make that the priority, then we set ourselves up for a pretty decent night.
Taylor, the last time you faced them, you were upset about the call and Edey not being reviewed, and it was upgraded to a flagrant one. And you had mentioned that there's a code in this league. When you face when the Warriors face you guys, do you worry about your players, and do you worry that sometimes maybe Draymond pushes the envelope or crosses the line?
I'm so excited for December 19th today.
Taylor, so just a theme throughout your tenure here is that whenever a player's out of the rotation, you never completely shut the door on them, and the theme within that is whenever they're back into they get their opportunity called, they usually deliver. Luke was a guy that helped really support y'all's comeback the other night. Just what goes into that dynamic of, you know, telling a guy that he's out of the rotation, but kind of just keeping him ready? Is it more about the players that y'all are bringing in? Is it stuff that y'all do to prepare? What all goes into that?
I think it all starts with the player themselves. Give a lot of credit to multiple guys, you know, in my time here that have been in that situation. I thought Luke's been phenomenal, you know, last week plus, you know, when I told him he's going to be out of the rotation, and he understood why, as difficult those decisions can be. He poured into his work. So it starts with them understanding how professional they got to be, competitive they got to be, how engaged they got to be, even when they're out, whether it's, you know, in the game, supporting their teammates, or, you know, doing the work that's necessary to stay ready, you know, being in the play groups, getting the extra work, which he was doing, and then a credit to the staff, you know, just having our touch points with him, being available for these guys, knowing that when we talk about the beginning of the year, you know, and we say everyone's got an imprint and impact opportunity, whether you're in the rotation or not, when you're out, it's to be ready when your number's called. We're going to be there for you and help you through that process. It goes hand in hand, but it definitely starts with the player, and, you know, tons of credit to Luke. Obviously, he wasn't mapped out to be in the game that night, and then I just kind of felt something, you know, in me to throw him out there, and I thought he made a huge impact. Obviously, he came in the first half, but then the second half, that run that we had at the start of at the end of the third, the start of the fourth, he had his handprint on all of that.
With Ja
is the back something that popped up at practice this week, and is there any update there? And then also with Marcus.
Yeah, we anticipate Ja good to go. Just something they kind of felt after practice yesterday, but I think that's all resolved. And then Marcus just kind of day to day just took a hit in the Lakers game that just kind of, he was feeling the last 48 hours. But I think it's day to day, and hopefully it's just on the shorter term.
Coach, we've talked about, with Curry in the house taking 3-pointers, we were just talking about the pick and roll. LeBron just had some comments about the All-Star game and too many threes. Just what's your thoughts on that trend in the game, and then what you're doing well with your offense where it's more cuts, things off the ball, and the pick and roll is an addendum, whereas some other teams it's pick and roll based, and there might be an off-ball action other teams have to worry about.
Yeah, every year I think that I've been in this position, you're always studying trends, you're seeing where the league's going, and obviously it's a math equation. You're trying to put more numbers on the board than your opponent, and the advent of the 3-point line just barrage over the last decade plus. I think the way that guys are creating it, whether it's off a drive penetration, it's pick and roll play, it's isolation, it's off the dribble, not just catch and shoot. It comes down to the math ploy. It's obviously been a strength of ours playing in the paint, but we know we got to have balance from the 3-point line. So I'm not just saying don't take threes or only take threes. We're just going to see what the defense gives us. And obviously with our kind of change this year with, philosophy of less pick and roll and, more cutting and movement, some off-ball actions, that was just an opportunity for us to find more competitive advantages and different ways to open up the paint, open up the 3-point line, and better shot quality, which we've always struggled in. Everyone's going to go about their different ways. And, obviously I think everyone's going to have their comments on what the trend is. And I don't think the 3-point line's going away anywhere.
Have you and Schroeder connected since your little tiff last week? And if not, do you plan to talk with him tonight?
No, we'll see how it goes. Ready to compete tonight. Great, thanks everyone. Appreciate it.